So welcome to another unboxing video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we're taking a look at Aces of Valor from Legion Wargames. This is a solitaire World War I aerial combat game from a designer called Erik von Rossing. He did a game called A Wing and a Prayer with Lock and Load a number of years ago that I played. I enjoyed that game. Very different style, I believe, from what we've gotten here, but Legion always makes, well, especially these days, make really nice production values, you know, and so they've gone kind of all out. It's solitaire games, it's easy to kind of skimp on some of that stuff, but they've got really nice artwork on it. So let's just kind of dive on in and see what we've got going on here. So, we have a bag of bags with 4d6 in it, and these are the old I think these are 8mm D6. I could be wrong, but they could be 6s. I don't really know. We do have a little deck of cards, and we will crack into those here in a bit. But we always appreciate the bags of bags, so that we can get everything going and kind of organized. So, the rulebook. So this is, let's see if we can catch light here. We've got like a semi-gloss rulebook on here. Nice little part on the back, which has the top aces of World War I. So all the ones that you would expect, right? We got Rickenbacker, Fanny Fonk, William Bishop, and Richthofen. 80 kills. I mean, the kill levels on these are absolutely crazy. So, the rulebook itself, looking at about really 15 odd pages of rules. So, if you've played any Legion Wargames, the format for these will be very familiar to you. You know, your dual column, fairly well spaced rules, examples of different counters that you're using. Usually it's very chronological as well in their rule books. But most of that is the rules. So we've got some optional rules over here, and there's some of these cards here for that. An extended example of play, and then some designer notes here at the end from Eric. But that's the rules. Doesn't look, I mean, that's a bit of text, but shouldn't be too complicated. We'll look at the cards here in a bit, I think. Well, let's take a look at the counter sheets. Here we go. Here, let's get everything out. So you get a little paper sheet at the bottom just to kind of protect everything. So we have 2.5 counter sheets. So let's take a look at these. So here's a good look at the aircraft. And again, I'll talk about this. This is really nice, good high quality artwork of the little of the airplanes. We'll go on the back side as well. They do have a reverse side with a lighter background, usually some form of step loss or disruption. Now, I don't know if you could see that. These are almost, they pop off the sprues very, very easily. This isn't like the old times where it was kind of had to cut them off the sprues. So these will be really easy to kind of punch and clip, and I think, for me at least, these numbers down here are very big and bold and easy to read. And then we have the contrasting black numbers in the top left-hand corner. So those are pretty easy to read, which just helps with it being accessible. These ones kind of all falling off the sprues here a little bit too. So we've got some German planes at the top of this sprue. And as we go down, what else we got? Looks like we got some French ones. Lovely. But yeah, really, really nice high quality counters. And these are nice thick white core. And then this half sheet looks to be a lot of ground assets and or admin markers. So it's literally like 2 whole sheets of counters of planes. And then a few different like hits and different skills, and then targets, I would imagine is what those are. So, that's the counters. So, we have a couple of play aids, which have quite a few play aids. Alright. So, we have a play aid for the combat phase. How does this open? This is a okay. So this is single-sided, there's obviously a blank side. We've got a trifold. So this is something that we can either have in our hand, fold it up, or if you've got a table big enough, kind of lay it out and just leave it out. Kind of put it under a plexi, that kind of a thing. You also have one for the flight phase. This is only a bifold. It's a little too just folds out, right? Blank on the back. But here, here's your kind of sequence of play that you're going to do each turn, and the different charts and tables that you're going to roll on for results. And I don't know how much this game is of a chart roller. I presume to an extent it is, but I think with the volume of the counters that you have, I think the combat in this is going to be more interesting than just chucking some bones. We'll find out. I don't know for sure. So, couple of other play aids. You have your pre-mission phase, post-mission phase. Pre-mission phase, do your flight phase, and your combat phase, post-mission phase, right? And then you have a campaign setup and campaign victory conditions, and then a couple of keys to what you need. This is something that you probably you set it up and then don't really think about this, and you'll learn this stuff very quickly, and then you kind of be done with this one. But as a beginner, I'm going to settle these charts up in the map and the game, and then play through and read the rules as I play the game the first time. That's generally speaking what they designed this game to be able to have done. So let's look at the map. Okay, 22 by 34 map. So, lots of different bits and pieces going on here. Let's see, can we see this? Yeah, sure, why not? So, we have our little VP tracks, turn tracks, all that kind of stuff up here. Little campaign MP costs, sequence of play. All the stuff that we're used to. Little holding box for our mission cards and current mission. But we have down here, this is our operations chart. So we have the current flight, ready box, recovery, and lost, and then our initiative track. One would presume, and I don't know, that this is where we're going to store a lot of those aircraft counters. Who's in the current flight, who's ready on the ground, who's in recovery, who was lost. And then as the planes have initiative values or have that rolled, they'll be put out on this matrix. And then the last major part of this is that down here we have our anti-aircraft events. We have this campaign map. So you're going to launch guys from certain airfields, and they'll be able to move over to the front line, and it's how far can you move based on like fuel and maybe inclement weather, that kind of thing, where your targets are located, what you're trying to go for, who and what can launch from that, right? So this guy, is he going to be able to go down here? I'm not sure, but that's decision points I imagine that you'll be faced with. So that's the map. Let's take a quick look at these cards if I can get them open, which I can. That was amazing that I did that first time. Most of the time I really struggled with getting those open. So we have our optional rules cards. And let's see, these are just reference cards for the optional rules. So that's not terrible. That's actually quite helpful. Post-mission events. And then mission cards. So your mission deck's going to go over here. You're going to shuffle these up and you're going to draw one. That's going to become the current mission. So different photo recon, bomber escorts, ground support, offensive patrol, balloon busting, very dangerous stuff. But look at the, I really appreciate the artwork on these. I think that's really nice. These are little digital artworks that they've put on here, but those are pretty nice, all things considered, and much, much better than I could do, that's for sure. But I appreciate that all the offensive patrols have different diagram or images on them. I like to see that they didn't just reuse artwork. That'd be, fine, but it's nice when they don't. And then for the post-mission events, getting a medal, elite mechanics, unreliable engines, just kind of the random stuff that's going to hamper you or give you a boon throughout the course of a campaign. That's the kind of thing that you would definitely expect in a solitaire game. So that was just kind of a look at what you get in the box. I'm very interested to see how this one plays, especially on a strategic level. I think that's interesting because there's a lot of tactical solo games where it's like, I'm one plane flying around getting shot and shooting people. I enjoy the kind of the strategic aspect of some of these games. So I'm excited to see how this plays. Aces of Valor from Legion Wargames. Check it out if this is something that you're interested in, but appreciate you very much for tuning in. I've been Alexander from thePlayersaid.com.